Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to Being Here. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Shia.
Collectively, we're the Canes.
Yes.
Today's episode is your innate kindness. And as we were sitting here with our handsome engineer, Dave, and our two lovely guests, Jenna and Katie, we're like, what is innate? So we all Googled it, came up with different things, but it's natural. You're natural. It speaks to the essence of who you are.
It's already in there. You don't have to become kind. You already are kind. And you especially are kind when you aren't beating on yourself for not being the way you think you ought to.
And it's clear you only beat on yourself when you're not being here. When you've gotten taken away by an idea that you should produce more, be more, do more, or you're locked in some moment in the past where you perceive that you did your life incorrectly or said something or did something, or somebody else did and you're resisting it.
Yeah, all of that.
Our approach is anthropological. An anthropologist finishes each other's sentences.
But it's not at all psychologically oriented. It's not about fixing or making you better. It's really about discovering how to access and live in the current moment of your life rather than worry about how the future is going to turn out or think you did something wrong in your past that you have to atone for.
It's really about noticing what is right now. Not analyzing what was, figuring out what may be. It's really all about being here. And I know that you are listening to the show because you have an interest in that. Otherwise, it'd be a huge waste of your time. And since we're all intelligent, sometimes our intelligence gets in the way of being kind to ourselves. So today, let's entertain the idea that you're perfect. That you've done nothing wrong.
Let's do it as a hypothesis.
A hypothesis is something that you try on as if it's true with the purpose of doing your best to prove it to be true. It's not trying it on to see how it's faulty. It's trying it on for the purpose of proving it to be true.
So our hypothesis is that you are naturally kind, and we'll go from there and see if it works out.
We really suggest letting go of distractions and listening to them.
I'm not giving up my espresso.
That is not a distraction. That's an enhancement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can go about your life. You can have your sip of whatever. However, listening simply to hear what's being said, and you don't have to add that extra step of applying it to yourself or seeing if it's true or not true. It's just about
agreeing or disagreeing with it. It's about allowing what's being said to come in without filtering it through what you already know.
You know, that sounds kind of dangerous to me. I mean, I hear a lot of things that people say that their reality is not necessarily mine. They may say unkind things. And yet, if I just hear it and register it without resisting it, it flows through as opposed to getting stuck with it.
Well, that's the first principle of instantaneous transformation. Anything you disagree with, that you don't like, don't want, sticks around. So your life is basically stuck with those things you've said no to or disagreed with or haven't liked.
And some of the things that you may have disagreed with is if you've had, bless you, I know it's a kind of a cough, but why not?
I'm just trying to clear my throat. It's a little early.
I know we release this at noon Eastern time, but we're recording it a little earlier than that. Sometimes you have automatic, reflexive, really unkind thoughts. And you're going to be in trouble if you think that's you. if you think you are thinking that, rather than noticing spontaneously in that moment, you had that reflexive reaction and you notice it.
Yeah, well, you need to slow down a little bit because I think you lost them with that you're not your thoughts.
Okay.
That's that's a realization that most of us never achieve, is to see that we have thoughts, that they are automatically generated in response to our environment. And we believe that voice we listen to is us. But if it's not us,
If it's a series of recordings,
that voice is not kind. Innately, you are kind, but your voice absolutely is not kind. It is judgmental. It finds fault with you and everybody else.
And it's part of a survival mechanism that identifies other. Those people are other. They could be dangerous. They are the enemy. It automatically separates things into categories, and it automatically judges others as less or more, depending on what's convenient for that thought process. And you can see that go by without hanging on to it as if it's true or as if it's you. And the more you see that every once in a while you may have a thought go by that is caustic, meaning nasty, and you notice it, those things lose their power over you.
But if you resist it, if you think a good person wouldn't have thoughts like that, well, then you get stuck with those thoughts.
And I'll tell you something.
It builds a dam that holds those thoughts in until they explode out. And you wonder, where did that come from?
Don't think about jaguars. Don't think about spotted, big, gorgeous cats. Don't think about elephants.
When you said don't think about jaguars,
I
got a car.
Yeah, there's a car a Jaguar near us that's for
sale.
And that's for a long time.
Right.
But it doesn't matter what you came up with. Whatever you came up with was automatic. It's not you coming up with, it comes up. And we'll start with there. Let's take our first guest.
Yes.
All right. Jenna, where are you zooming in from today?
Hi, Ariel and Shaya. I'm zooming in from Manhattan, New York.
Awesome.
Welcome. Lovely to see you.
Yes.
You. I feel so lucky to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you.
Well, then we're all lucky.
We feel honored.
We're all lucky. I love it.
What can we do for you?
I have a question for you. Something that has sort of been swimming around my mind lately. One of the things that I do is I work in retail, and I work with customers and help them pick out the right product for them. And I've found that especially lately, with people are feeling stressed, and I have been really upsetting myself or offending myself with some of the things that have been said to me. And I've found it to be.
Hey, Jenna, darling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with you're upset.
Yes.
So you think they're upset and stressed.
You think they're the way they are is causing your upset. But if you're not upset, they're just the way they are.
Sure.
And you don't need to see. The thing is this: being upset is not okay in most of our realities.
Yeah.
You know,
we think you're a good person, a kind person
would never get upset.
Yeah.
So we blame other people for our upset, but the reality is, if you're not upset, their behavior isn't upsetting. But if you're already upset, it becomes a great justifier. If they say something, and most people are in pain of one sort or another, and so they're not exactly nice. But if you're expecting them to be nice and they're not, then you'll upset yourself with it and you'll blame it on them.
Yeah.
See,
absolutely.
here's the thing. I know you're an aspiring actress.
Hmm.
So one of your jobs is retail. You said that. And
Yeah.
I go, what are you selling in retail? And who's your clientele?
I sell, without getting too specific, I sell high-end tech devices like
Technical?
phones.
Like
I
computer and tech
Yeah,
Oh,
devices.
yeah. Well, that's a great place to lose yourself. You know, those high-end tech devices like
Mhm.
phones and computers.
yeah,
That's a great place to lose yourself, especially when you're upset.
sure.
And so you've got a bunch of upset people
Who think more is going to make them happy,
and think a
Yeah.
better phone, the newest iPhone will make them happy.
or the newest Android or Microsoft, whatever, so that we have the full range. The newest whatever.
The newest whatever. Hmm.
And so you're dealing with normal people who are upset, blaming their upset on not having the current,
Widget or gadget. Who's
right,
that?
the most current computer.
Yeah.
Um, and
I'll tell you another thing. Uh, it wasn't too long ago that I bought a new phone, and I was really happy when I was really integrated with purchasing it when I did. But I think sometimes for people, it is a big investment and they're not sure they're worth it. And
Mm.
then they go in and they mistrust themselves. They're going to look at you. They're going to mistrust you. They're going to think you try to upsell them or tell them the wrong thing. Or they come in and they don't know how to have it work and they're frustrated and they're angry and they dump that on you the same way they're dumping it on themselves. I
Yeah.
was recently on the phone with somebody from the airlines because I had to fill out a whole visa thing to go to the Bahamas, and I couldn't get it to work. And even though I knew the person couldn't see my screen, I suggested I call the airlines. And the guy was so funny. He just kept saying, "Okay, tell me what you're looking at." And I was reading every line. Okay, it has my passport number. I put it in. It has the date. I put it in. And I kept reading. And finally, I got to the line where I missed something.
Ah.
And I'm like, look, I didn't put it in. No wonder I can't submit. When I put it in, the submit button
it was
became
great.
active instead of grayed out. And I said, Sam, his name was Sam. Sam, you're brilliant. But but I was like, okay, this is stupid. I know you're making me say each line. I know I've done it correctly, and I hadn't. And it was so much fun to go through it with him. And I was so happy that he kept having fun with my experience.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds lovely. Go Sam.
Yeah, really go, Sam. Now,
Well, here's the problem. You pick on yourself.
Yeah, I do.
And if you pick on yourself, when
you
other people say things that aren't quite kind, you pick on yourself thinking you're the reason why they are the way they are.
I think it even goes a step further, though, Jenna. When you're picking on yourself, you become a pick on me magnet.
You become an invitation to be picked on.
Yeah.
Because, see, if you think you're bad and should be punished, you'll want to enroll everybody else in that.
Sure.
And in a certain respect, I think that you have um, a type of hurdle that perhaps other people in your uh, university classes did not, because you were very successful there and you got scholarships or to go to London to study. You got a lot of accolades. A lot of people said, wow, that Jenna is so talented. And now you're out into this bigger pool of individuals. Plus, you've had the COVID situation, so there hasn't been the wealth of jobs that there might have been had you entered the market at a different time. And
Right.
it's a challenge to go from a place where all you have to do is succeed and be the top of the class in order to get positive feedback to a place where you have to sustain your sense of yourself in the midst of what looks like not a lot of quote progress or not a lot of positive feedback from your chosen profession.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think you're trying to get somewhere.
I'm sure I am.
And as though where you are isn't where you ought to be right now.
Yeah.
So when you're at work in your chosen profession, which is retail in this, when you go to work,
Mhm.
you're there thinking, if I only could get an audition and if I could only get that acting job that's going to fulfill me.
Yeah.
So
That's
this is your day job. See, when I met Ariel, she was an actress,
Mhm.
aspiring actress, but she was an actress. And her day job was working in a chiropractor's office as a receptionist. That's where I met her.
I called myself a chiropractic assistant because it made me sound more important.
Right.
Sure.
Sound right? And,
Right.
everybody's trying to get there as though where they are is the wrong place right now. But where you are is the right place. You
Yeah.
should be doing exactly what you're doing, having the thoughts you're having, the body sensations and feelings you're having. It's all perfect. This is the way life is unfolding in this moment for you.
Yeah.
And but your mind isn't you, it's a machine that's dissatisfied. You can't do enough to fulfill its needs to be satiated, but it's insatiable. So it's always wanting more than what it's got, something different and something better.
Right.
And you are the slave to that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's got to be frustrating and unfulfilling.
You
Yeah.
know, during this pandemic, there was a while there you were living in California and you were in your parents' basement or some such thing in your
Mhm.
old bedroom. And I know at that time you thought, oh gosh, if only, you know, I had my own place. And I know that people, this is going out as an audio primarily. Who knows, someday we may do video along with it, but we're actually seeing you. Here you
Yeah.
are in your New York apartment. It is really well appointed. It is gorgeous behind you. You know, I don't know if you have a mess everywhere else. Sometimes, you know, that's easy to do. You can put a mess outside the, but still you can see that it's lovely. And yet, this is what Shai is talking about. Your mind, it's not enough. And it's
Yeah.
interesting you think that the people who've been speaking to you unkindly have been upsetting you. Because as far as I can tell, Shai and I are talking in a kind manner to you, but I can see the emotions in you, Jenna, the sadness, the whatever those stirred up emotions are. And somehow you either think you shouldn't have them, you want to blame them out on the outside, rather than just letting yourself have the full richness of Jenna, which includes spontaneous or surprising emotions sometimes that may not seem to fit the circumstances, but they're
Let
there.
yourself feel them and they complete themselves. Resist them and they stick around. And then they dominate your life. But if you let yourself feel what you're feeling, it only lasts a short while. And now you're feeling something entirely new.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
See, what you resist, so you don't like being sad, do you?
No.
Are good people sad? Never.
Are
Absolutely.
successful actresses sad? Almost always.
But
Oh.
you don't have to do that. See, you don't have to
Yeah.
be sad to be successful.
Yeah.
It may be that that's the way it's been, but it doesn't mean it's the way it is.
I also have one other possibility for you. Having been an aspiring actress doing additional other jobs, Yeah, let yourself feel that. Uh, it's okay if you don't want to be an actress every day. It's okay if you love your job that you're doing that's not
It's
that.
okay if you enjoy yourself walking down the street in New York City. With not when you get there, but as you're walking. Not when you get to where you're going, not when you get to that audition, not when you get that audition. And you notice how, as an actress aspiring, you still apply whatever you're doing to the acting profession. So you
Oh,
don't just feel emotion. You think, oh, this will be good when I need to be emotional. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
have thoughts.
Yeah. And it's like when you're shopping for a car. Everywhere you look, you see cars for sale. And then after you've bought the car, you still are looking for cars. Well, it's got something to do with
How the mind works.
how the mind works. And look, actors and actresses are not necessarily happy when they get a job as an actor or actress. In fact, they complain more then than before.
Well, actually, if you're complaining about yourself now, when you get a big win, it intensifies however you're being.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
See, can you be different than you are in this moment? Really,
No.
too late. The moment went by
I know
when I
you were
asked the
thinking about that,
question.
but
Right. See, so you might as well enjoy how you're being because you can't be different than that.
Yeah.
And the idea of the future is all in your mind,
Sure.
as with the past. See, in your experience of living, that's all taking place in this moment, right here, right now. This is it. It isn't when I achieve or acquire that, then I'll feel better.
Right.
and you know what, Jenna? Uh, you're not behind.
Good.
Whenever I fall slightly off center or a lot off center, I have the idea that I'm behind in things, and you're not behind. And as I look at you, I realize that I can't, I can see your face and your shoulders, but I just had a thought. And I realized for a lot of people listening to this, they had the idea once they were homebound and started putting on weight that when restrictions lifted, they would suddenly lose it. And it hasn't necessarily happened that way. And people are being unkind to themselves about who they are and how they are right now, rather than owning, this is me, this is how I look, this is my how I am, this is my level of success, this is my life.
Yeah.
When you say this is my level of success, that is through the filter of what you think success will be.
Mm-hmm.
So you will always fall short in your judgment of yourself about how successful you are.
Yeah.
See, I'm very successful in my life, but in my own thought processes, uh, we only have 50 people in a weekend, not 300.
But
So therefore, I'm
yes,
not successful. But that's untrue. You are successful because you're breathing. You're successful because you're alive in this moment. Those projects or ideas that you put on yourself that you need to achieve to be okay, you're already okay. And if you allow yourself to experience being okay, you'll do better in the things you do. But if you think when you get there, when you finish it, when you are seen as successful, you'll be successful, you'll never be successful
Yeah.
because you are successful in that you're breathing.
Yeah.
it's interesting. Shai and I have some friends whose parents live not far from here, and they're aging, and the mother is in hospice right now, and so she's her life is winding down, and she's largely lost the ability to produce sound so she can speak, but you have to really pay attention because it doesn't go over her vocal cords. You just have to kind of catch her intention. And so she's just being, and it's so lovely to be with her. And it really is, her life is successful. And it's interesting because when she passes, which will happen when it does, she won't have lost her battle with anything. She'll have successfully transitioned to whatever comes next that none of us are going to know until we get there. But one of the things I love about being around her is that in her way of being, she's let go of having to do anything, including even appreciate the weather outside, or there's just a beingness. Now, mind you, I have a whole lot of things on my plate that I do care about and that I am connected to, and I do appreciate the weather. Like, I can look outside right now and the light filtering through the trees is exquisite, but it's all extra. You don't need to do anything. You are enough.
Exactly as you are right now.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Take a breath, sweetheart.
You see, we've all been programmed and conditioned to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Like something in the future will be better than this moment. And all there is the
this
moment.
breath. Hey, Jenna, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, you're a gift.
Really sweet.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your beautiful words. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty then. Drum roll, please. You sound like our cat. It's time for our listener feedback spotlight while Shai is here purring with me. We get to hear from one of our listeners
about how transformation has impacted their lives. And if you'd like to learn more or register for any of our upcoming courses, visit transformationmadeeasy.com.
Yeah.
And when I say easy, it's like the fire swamp.
Yeah, join us.
If you know your way through it, it's easy. If you have a good guide, it's easy. If you don't, well, there's rodents of unusual size. There's lightning sand.
All those
thing?
I don't remember.
Oh, and the fire spurts. Right.
There you go.
There you go.
We're great
Transformation made easy.
This is Deirdre in Paris, and I love listening to the Being Here podcast. It always brings me back to a center, and every time surprises me. Every time I see something new, something from a slightly different angle, and I finish the episode happy.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
If you'd like to join us in person, virtually, or in person actually, our next 2 virtual seminars are this Saturday and Monday, the Living Made Easy seminars. Don't know if you're listening to this in the archive. If it is, you can just go to transformationmadeeasy.com and check and see what's upcoming next. You can also do that just to register if you want to come this Saturday. The next weekend virtual seminar is on the theme of simplicity, that life is simple when you're being here for it. And we're happy to announce
that we are opening Costa Rica 2022.
It's now open if you'd like to join us in Costa Rica and be there for a week or two with this amazing global community. Again, you can go to transformationmadeeasy.com and find out more and register. Next guest, shall we?
Yes, Katie.
Welcome to being here. And where are you zooming in from?
I'm zooming in from Chicago, Illinois.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. It's nice to be here with both of you.
Be here with you too.
Thank you. This was a great topic. I was actually reviewing it last night before I went to bed, and it was so funny because right before that, I had got a text from a friend, and we walked together on Wednesdays and Fridays. And she texted and had invited another person to come along on the walk. And my first thought was, what? No. And it was so funny to read about then, you know, your innate kindness when you're being here. You're kind to yourself, you're kind to other people. And it was funny and kind of, well, interesting. I was actually going to talk to you guys about it this morning, but it's such a construct of the mind. It was so cool this morning when I was listening to what you guys said about, you know, how we immediately have these judgmental, unkind thoughts. And
you could stop right there. See, it's an automatic function of your mind to judge. It's locked up with our survival because humanity, even though apparently, you know, we have beautiful surroundings, we have warm homes or cool homes, depending on the outside temperature. We have cars and boats and things that take us around, airplanes that fly us. There's this apparency of civility. And yet we come from a very brutal past. And our memory, our cellular memory, is that of surviving brutality. And so we're constantly looking for differences in people and similarities so we know if we're going to be threatened or taken care of.
And the mind still functions to take care of us and perceives threats, even though now we no longer have to worry about walking out in the woods and generally being attacked by wolves or bears or marauding
Indians.
bands of other individuals who might not like our type. Our mind is looking, it looks for threats, real or imagined.
And so differences in people. So if you walk down the street, Katie, I guarantee you have a comment in there about every person you pass.
When you're there and not thinking about some other thing. So your eyes aren't actually registering what you're seeing.
Right.
When you're registering what you're seeing, you recognize size, shape,
weight,
color, weight, gender, clothing, dress,
sexual preference.
All those things register. So here you are, you have an established pattern with a friend who now has invited somebody, and the mind automatically thinks, oh God, what if I'm replaced? What if
they'll like her better than me?
What if it ruins? This was my time. It has a whole schematic that has nothing to do with reality. And that's your automatic thought process. If you find it amusing,
then it leaves you alone and you find peace. If you resist it
and think oh God, that was not nasty of me. Well, that assumes that automatic thought is you rather than the automaticity of the mind we all carry around.
And, you know, like I've said many times before, I've Googled to find out how many thoughts we have a day, and it's between 40 and 60,000, and that's in our waking hours. So where do you have time to be? you're busy thinking all the time. And what you're thinking about is mostly negative. They say 80% is negative. So, hello. That's not you. Those are thoughts. You are the being that happens to be listening to those thoughts and misidentifying themselves as the thinker. Rather than the thinker is like a loudspeaker, and you're tuned into a radio show called Katie's Mind.
So I have a question, Katie. So you had this automatic thought. How hard on yourself were you for having that come?
It wasn't very Christian of you.
I was definitely hard on myself because I find that I have in the past gotten stuck in that pattern of judgment. And I see that even in fights with my husband. Like, I will be like, whoa, you're an asshole. I mean, that's usually what plays in my head, instead of realizing, like, I reacted.
Well, there is no instead.
Oh,
Like, you have, okay, I love it, because at
Yes.
the very beginning of this, we were talking about the difference between psychological approach, anthropological change, transformation. And we posited or put out the idea to try and as a hypothesis that you're perfect. And that it's really about observing what is rather than talking to yourself about what should be. And so here you are, you have that thought when you're having a fight, oh, I'm going to say jerk just to clean it up a little bit, you jerk. And you, as opposed to what you think you should be, which is loving towards your husband, because that's how it should be, because Katie, as Shai said, it's not very Christian. You were enculturated into that reality and that value system. So when those thoughts come up, it goes against the value system that's ingrained with. There's a big difference between having those thoughts come up and dumping them out on someone. I'll tell you what happens sometimes with Shai and I. One of us will have something like that, and it'll be like, wow, Shai, I'm just having really unkind thoughts about you right now. Or Shai will say, Ariel, you haven't done anything, but I'm right now really want to get irritated with you, and I'm not really sure what's going on. Like, we can describe it rather than impose it, which is kind of fun, because then we can look and see, oh, we missed this, we got that. Oh, I can look to see, gee, maybe I'm not really here with you right now, and that's irritating. Or, oh, you spoke with so-and-so, and you're still working on that. There's there's ease in that.
that's really cool. Thank you. I love that. Because a lot of times I do find that I get angry and then I don't voice that. And then I am like, oh, you did this,
Well, let's just slow down a second. You get angry. That's a fact. It's not caused by your husband's words
Actions or lack of actions.
Right. He does not cause your anger. You've already got the anger there.
See, it's not like you said you'd take out the garbage. I came in and it's still sitting here. That made me angry. If that was the fact accessed this already ongoing cauldron of anger.
Upset and anger.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Katie, I was going to say something early on. It's all good. Okay. I was going to say how alive you appear to me. You are. And how this is a shift, because I've known you for a number of years, and it's really wonderful. And I think your consistency in bringing yourself, since we have virtual seminars, your consistency in bringing yourself to those seminars is supporting this aliveness and this enthusiasm for life that I see showing up in you.
That is so accurate. I mean, I've noticed it in myself since we, had what a lot of people would call the unfortunate situation of COVID. You guys have brought your seminars online and virtually, and I've been able to attend Monday nights, or I'm sorry, what we now call, yeah.
Yeah, because it's virtual and you live in Chicago, and so you couldn't take a trip to New York every Monday. I mean, you could, but it would really interfere with your lifestyle to attend a live Monday night that we used to do. But to come virtually has afforded you access to another reality rather than the reality of blame, because most people live in a reality of blame where they blame the circumstances for how they are and how they feel and their level of satisfaction. And you aren't doing that.
But I do want to address the anger a moment, because I have a feeling Shia gave you the key for unlocking that and draining that away, and you may not have caught it earlier. He was talking about when you don't see something, or perhaps in your case, see and say something, you create a dam, and then it never comes out until the dam breaks, until there's enough pressure. I have a feeling that you judge things in yourself as petty, little, minor, stupid, not worth talking about. So with your husband, something will happen and you don't clear the air then and there because you think, it's stupid, I'll just let it go. And then enough things build up until there's a pressure. And when you do communicate under those circumstances, it has an anger component. And Shai was talking about this recently on one of the last Living Made Easy seminars, how we'll be laying in bed at night, for instance, and it'll get quiet. And it can either be quiet because we're about to fall asleep, or I'm reading, he's been playing with an iPad, or it can get quiet because something might have gone unsaid. And if one or the other of us isn't sure, we'll go, are we okay? And it'll be like, yeah, I'm just really tired. Or it'll be, I don't know. Earlier today, and if there's something left over, we look at it and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, or whatever. Or, oh, no, that wasn't, no, I was just distracted by it. And it clears the air. So there's never that build up to anger. Little things that you allow yourself to talk about can bring intimacy.
Cool. Oh, that's great. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah.
I just love seeing you. I love doing Zumba with you. For those of you who have an interest in online activity, we have a friend, Jutta, who does Zumba through Air Subs. It's really fun. We get together on Tuesday nights. So I get to see Katie multiple times a week, and it's been really fun.
Thank you. Same for me. But I love seeing you guys, and thank you so much. I mean, really, I found myself so supported throughout this past year, just being able to come to seminars with consistency has just made a huge impact in my life. And it's been really great.
We've had people ask us if we're going back to in-person. And the answer as a steady diet is no. Because why would we go back to New York City and exclude you, or Dave in Canada, or Harley in Napanee, or Cheryl in Hong Kong, so that you can have as a steady diet? We will do some in person, but I like the ability.
Costa Rica is going to be in person.
Yes. And And so it'll be an event where we can actually all see each other and give each other real hugs. But in the meantime, I like having both. It's wealthy.
Me too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
And thanks for being
thanks
with
for
us
being with
today.
us today. Yes.
Another form of wealth. Here you are giving to the worldwide population who listens to this podcast.
I love that.
I love it too. Hey, if you want to be a guest like Katie, you can just go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Or you can leave a listener spotlight, like what you heard in the middle about what happens for you out of listening to the show. And if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends. People deserve the possibility of well-being, and it can be so easy if you share it.
And then they can discover their innate kindness.
Next week's episode is Who's the Boss? I have a feeling that's you or your mind. That's just a sneak
One
peek.
or the other.
One or the other. Who's the boss? So we'll be back next
Who's running
week.
your life?
Come on back.
And don't miss being here.